zip code benders, our road trips, our nostalgia, our thought-provoking questions, and our undying love for nerds. Remember, you're never alone if you have the bros. Just us and bros.
Hey bros, welcome back to Just Us Bros podcast. And over the weekend, Marvel released a new installment, this time with an asterisk. As always, I'm Hokey Joker.
I'm Bob.
I'm Green Lantern.
And so over the weekend, the Thunderbolts asterisk came out in theaters. I know for us, I feel like it wasn't as highly anticipated as Captain America Brave New Attempt. But honestly, leading up to it, I found like a lot of my YouTube shorts and reels had like full scenes, like, oh, release scenes of this. So I'm just wondering what Marvel was thinking. So my question is, what were you guys expecting going into this movie?
I think Marvel was thinking, oh crap, we got to put something out to replace Kang. And so that's what this was.
You weren't excited about it at all?
I had no, I was not excited. I had no hopes for the movie. But individually, as characters that made up the roster, I don't really care about any of the characters. I was a little excited for the team up, but ultimately we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
no, I had no expectations. I had no excitement for the movie, but obviously I'm gonna watch it.
Going into this, I feel like I think with every MCU project now, you have to go into it with low expectations, even if it's a movie that you are actually excited about. Because I went into this movie with low expectations. I did want to see this movie. Tried not to get too excited for it, and ended up actually not gonna say loving it, but enjoyed it more than I was expecting to.
I know, like leading into it, I was like, oh, it's another Marvel movie. But then when I saw that they like leaked it with Sentry, I was like, okay, I'm a little more intrigued now about that. So I didn't really have a prediction. Didn't really know what was going to happen. I just felt like it was going to be Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad.
They leaked it with Sentry.
Like a couple months ago, like they like any comic book person who's of like our knowledge level, like could see like the trailer and be like, oh, that's Sentry.
Oh, I didn't watch the trailer, so
Well, yeah, I think
Yeah,
they did the same thing with
so
Brave New
it's
World, where they kind of had to show the money shot so people would actually be interested in seeing it because they were afraid that people were not going to be.
at least they didn't have a popcorn bucket with Sentry's face on it as I was going in.
But how would you rate this overall compared to the last couple outings from Marvel? I'm just gonna say within the last year. Wait, you're saying this was better than Brave New World, or Brave New
Brave New
World
World
was
was better
better?
than this. This is how the movie went for me. The movie started. There's Yelena. She gets this assignment. Whatever, she does it. Then they show what's the Seinfeld chick's name?
Uh, Louis
Desfontaine.
Yeah,
Dreyfus.
De Fontaine.
Desfontaine, like
She does her thing. She orders them. She orders Yelena to clean up a mess. They get closed in, whatever. And during that 2 hours, I looked at Bat Drew and I said, "Is there a plot to this movie?" Um, because so far it was doing nothing, and I actually fell asleep during that part. Because it was nothing going on, and it seriously was like the first 30, 45 minutes of the movie. There was nothing going
Yeah.
on.
Well, in your defense, the first 40 minutes of the movie was a little bit slow paced, even with some of the action, but you had been drinking all day, so
I had a few drinks.
anyone would have probably passed out in the first 40 minutes. I mean, to me, because I had not been drinking that much,
I took a
I was still entertained, but expected a little more, I guess, action. But anywho,
for me it was like forced, like they were trying to force the interactions between the characters and make comedic the comedic timing was not there. Like they were trying to make it like with Captain America and Thor. First time they met, the comedic timing was like with
Spot on.
and then when Bob went flying up in the air, I'm like, okay, now you got my attention. And then whatever Ragtag group Sentry shows up. She actually says the Sentry Project, and that's when I actually got invested in the movie. But that was a good 45 minutes in before I could even tell what the plot was going to be and could even care. The Sentry character development was very quick, but I understood the backstory. I understood his powers. Obviously, he was way too powerful for any of them to take on physically. So they had to go in there and help him in the shadow realm or mentally or whatever. I felt like that was a cop out, and I did not like the climactic battle. Sentry ended up being the weakest part of the movie for me at that point, and then they're all buddy buddy at the end. And
So
I'll say Captain America: Brave New World. I'd probably give a 6 out of 10. Like for overall movie, like I enjoyed the movie, but 6 out of 10 as far as storyline, all that goes. This one I probably get a 3.
I actually feel the opposite with about that GL because Brave New Attempt. I know it's Brave New World, but I want to keep calling it Brave New Attempt. Um, I like the last three movies were Deadpool, Brave New Attempt, and this. And I thought this was better than Brave New World because I felt like, at least with Brave New Attempt World, was it felt like it was shot in a box. Um, and this one I felt had like more emotion and gravitas behind it versus like Brave New Attempt was all CGI. Let's show battle, flash, bang. I feel that it dealt with a lot more mature themes, which I really appreciated. As far as like Yelena's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel depressed. I felt it was more real world. I thought that was a definitely a different direction to go, and I really appreciated the change of pace. And they're all talking about like, oh, I'm alone. We're all alone. Yeah, I really liked when he turned into the void, like how he was like taking out people just to, and they were shadows. Like when Red Guardian saved that little girl, like the people in the audience with me, like he's like, Red Guardian saved little girl, and then poof, she was gone. It was like some people were laughing, some people were like, oh shit. Um, and I mean, I think there's going to be two schools of thought to it, but when they were in the realm with them, I appreciated the fact that it wasn't a typical beat the bad guy up.
Can I interject on two things?
Sure thing.
One, I respect what they did with the mental health stuff with Yelena and all that and with Bob. However, that's not why I go watch a superhero movie. Two, they knew each other for what? A 24
Yeah.
hour period? Was Yelena's attempt at friendship with him and the you're not alone and the way she saved him, was that sincere? Or was that just her way of activating her training and finding the opponent's weakness, which for him was his mental health, and saying what she needed to say to make him feel better?
Well, the power of friendship. I'll the speech with Red Guardian where he's like, "You're alone. The light is out of you. I found like you don't have a light anymore, and I miss that in you." And the whole couple speeches between her and Red Guardian where he's like, "You need someone. Don't be alone." I get that.
And then 10 minutes later she has a whole change of heart.
Yeah.
That's not, you're not going to work through that in 10 minutes.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, you're
Yeah.
just not.
So
No.
I'll kind of, I guess, be the bridge between both of y'all's trains of thought. Brave New World, I love that movie too. 8 out of 10 for me. Thunderbolts here. Also didn't hate it. It was, I feel, 8 out of 10 for me as well. But I guess to play to both of your points a little bit, I think this movie did a little bit of what Joker Folie a Douche did last year, where it was a movie about mental health undertones, I guess. But if we're looking at if we're looking at Thunderbolts two different ways, if you look at it as a movie that you would want people to go see and whatnot, that it's basically a movie about mental health and trying to overcome things and work together, but also it does feel rushed because kind of like what they did with the Defenders. They're like, hey, we're supposed to be a team in the comics, and now we're going to be a team after knowing each other, like Lantern said, for 24 hours. Which I guess that part kind of does suck, but I mean, they kind of had no choice. But then also as a comic book movie, aside from the fact that they were rushed to become a team and work together with the power of friendship, I did like the dynamics that the characters had with each other, even though that uh, team up movies, I feel like they should be a team up movie after like Avengers. A team up movie was made after each had their own solo where you can cover their backstories and whatnot for all the characters. And well, no, because Avengers, that was technically their first meeting, but I think anyway it gets cut to put an ensemble together without them knowing each other already. It's gonna feel rushed, and that sucks. But I guess for what it's worth, they did their best with this. This to me was technically it was a movie where the central theme was kind of mental health and I don't want to say the power of friendship, but that's kind of what we would have to say about
Yeah.
this. But I did like the movie for being bold with that, going with that because this I think was the first. Honestly, I think this was the first MC movie I've seen where the ending fight scene was not a big CGI battle, right? I mean, granted,
Yeah.
there was still some CGI in that last scene where they're all hugging each other and whatnot, but no blue sky beams, no alien army to defeat.
Yeah. No
Which,
weird. Yeah. No weird green guy with the broccoli head.
yeah, which I mean, as a movie, I liked it more, I think, as just a general movie than as a superhero ensemble movie. But either way, I did not hate it, if that all makes sense.
When they're talking about Bob, and he's like, at some point, he goes, I was addicted to meth at the time. Disney said I'm addicted to meth in a Disney movie, which I was surprised that you said the F word before you said meth.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't know. I guess
that's
it
interesting.
didn't jump out as too much of a
I was just saying, I thought that
holy
was funny.
crap moment for me.
No, it wasn't holy crap. It was like, huh? They said the F word before they said meth.
He alluded to some other stuff with his dad. They didn't come right out and say it, but they alluded to some stuff with his dad. So Badger, you mentioned the ensemble cast, and it made me think: Are we just what did Avengers come out 2011? So we're 14 years since the first Avengers movie
Yeah,
came out.
Shh, don't say that so loud.
it's been
But
12,
and
2012.
prior to that, I remember like going and seeing Iron Man and then the first Captain America and the first Thor and like rumors of they're doing all these movies so they can do an Avengers movie. And like they'll never do an Avengers movie. And then they did. We saw it, seeing all these characters interact for the first time. It was again, in my mind, I'm not even a Marvel person, but it was perfect. Much better than Justice League or any DC movie that's come out so far. Do you think they used all that magic up in the first beginning phases of the Marvel universe with the characters that we know and love and the more popular characters. Like you said, they don't each have their own movie. So we're not as emotionally invested. Aside from Yelena with Black Widow, the others were just minor parts in other movies or TV shows or whatnot. So we're not that connected with them.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that Bucky is the only like movie like originated character.
Well, he's technically only the
Elena,
only
but that was
one.
streaming with Black Widow.
Technically, he's the
Well,
only one that was from phase one that actually is
yeah,
carried on until now.
yeah. Unless you
and
want to
I
count
feel like
Ghost, yeah.
they almost forced his character into teaming up with them too. It's like, I'm a congressman, I'm a congressman, I'm a congressman. Oh, now all of a sudden I'm going to join this team. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
But going
So I
back
feel like he
to
lost character development there.
yeah, but going back to Lantern's point, I don't think they used up all the quote unquote magic the first Avengers team up. The problem is now that they kept making, I guess for the first 10 years, banger after banger, and they just kept Disney and Marvel kept saying it's gonna get bigger, it's gonna get better, and that's making people's expectations going into any movie like super high. And when you don't meet those expectations, people are just gonna be like, eh. But it's funny that you brought up the Avengers, the first one, because there was a lot of parallels to the first one for hardcore MCU movie goers. Um, most of the what Act Three, I guess, took place where most of Act Three for Avengers took place, but from different perspectives. Like Dave Fontaine introduces them to Century, where the same place, same room, I think, where Iron Man introduced well, not introduced, but Iron Man confronted Loki for the first time, really, in that area.
Yeah.
What was that? Did you fart?
Hulk ragdolling Loki.
Oh yeah, yeah. All I saw was your arm waving. I was like, oh, I guess he farted. But then also the juxtaposition of them. Well, one I guess I wanted to say Winter Soldier, U.S. agent, saved that lady from getting crushed by that rocket, and they all help, and then they push the rock over. That was kind of their spinning ensemble Avengers lineup show. That's why that kind of took me back too. Technically, they cannot be those Avengers, but it was those small little details in that movie where there's probably like a dozens more, but like I felt like okay, they're paying homage to something we saw just 12 years ago, which God, but yeah, but I don't think they like to your point, I don't think they've lost the magic of it. I think that because people are expecting more, they're expecting too much, and things aren't turning out the way they are expecting it to. They're not liking these hits as much, which like, they could be like in another decade, be like, okay, you know what? We were kind of harsh on these movies. They weren't as bad as we thought. Kind of like with Revenge of the Sith, how everyone was like, that was so horrible when it came out, but now we're what, maybe 20 years removed from that now,
Yeah,
and people are
it's
like,
been 20 years.
that might have been the greatest Star Wars movie they've seen. See, so
Oh, it definitely was. But I thought that at the time.
But GL, do you have anything good to say about this movie?
I'll answer that, but I do think for me it's about the characters. And I get that they're trying to give these other characters screen time, they're trying to develop them, but
does that actually
me
be it? I don't know if
personally,
that can be it.
I don't care about a lot of the characters that they've been having that they've been trying to put to the forefront for us. Like Captain America, Hulk, Thor, that's cool. Um, Winter Soldier, okay, he's cool. He's kind of removed. Falcon becoming Captain America, I thought was great. But then having U.S. Agent and then these other, I won't even say B characters, I'd say C characters. Elena's a C character to me. I mean, Florence Pugh played the character great. She did a great job with that character. I think she was the star of the movie. However, I don't care about her character, and I think that's what's making me have issues with these movies. But then you throw a Deadpool in there. I love Deadpool. Like if they would have thrown Deadpool in this movie, would have been I would probably give it an 8 out of 10 just because Deadpool was in it.
Yeah, and it feels like they're taking the universal characters that are the characters that are universally loved. Captain America. Iron Man didn't really become famous until Robert Downey Jr. And like they can't keep making those movies because one, the actors is going to keep asking for more money. And I get like from a movie making standpoint, you can't have RDJ in every single movie. One, the price goes up, and two, how many times is he going to play the same character before it starts to get old?
But yeah, the price goes up, but also that's the difference in a $200 million box office movie and a $2 billion box office movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm
So
just using that as an example of like, yeah, you can pay him and he can be in every movie, but at what point is the audience going to be like, we've seen this 20 other times? He was the same thing in every other movie. It's getting old, is what I'm
I
getting
think
at. It's
I
either
think
it
one
costs too much or it's getting old.
yeah, I think one solution that might save this I guess the MCU in general would be maybe not putting together so many ensemble movies like has to be every like few years or whatever, but also if you're gonna do an ensemble movie about characters that we really don't know about, or as Lantern said, really can't care about, and that, I mean that's not his fault if he doesn't care about the character. He doesn't know much about them. Find the right director because I think when Guardians came out, that was a team of people that I had no idea even who Rocket Raccoon was or Drax. But by the end of that movie, I felt like I'd known those guys for like years. So maybe find the right director to be able to put these characters together and not have to worry about because Guardians was, of course, every movie that has come out in the MCU has always had to shoehorn something for the next movie that's coming out or put plot pieces into it. But they didn't have to do that too much in Guardians, so that was one of its strong suits. And like I said, how many Shane's Tires Employee of the Month, how many people did you know from Guardians before the movie came out? Like actually, oh
Not,
yeah, I know that comic book character.
not a
Exactly.
single one. Yeah.
And by the end of that, you were like, you know what? I'm gonna be Drax for Halloween or whatever, or I'm gonna be Star Lord.
Or how many
Like,
times do we walk around saying I am Groot?
Yeah.
oh, we better watch your language. Kids watch the show.
Yeah.
Group you.
Um, but is there anything you like between me and GL's rating scale? We're flip flop, and you sort of even out those two movies. GL, is there anything that you liked about this movie other than when the credits rolled?
I liked that they introduced Sentry.
Okay.
His portrayal of the character was a little weak for me. Again, I get the story they were trying to tell and the problem they were trying to solve. So I get that. If anything came out of this movie, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Sentry.
And to counter that, I think one of the bad things in it was like I didn't really give a crap about the whole impeachment thing with Dave Chappelle, whatever her name was, Dave Fontaine. Um, but like, there's that scene in the movie where like they cut to the camera people outside the Congress, and they go to that one congressman, and he's like, "Yeah, we got evidence coming in, and it's juicy. It's juicy fruit." It cuts to Bucky, who have captured the Thunderbolts asterisk, and then he gets a call, and they're like, "Oh, the Sentry thing, it's going on. Okay, change your plans. You're not going to Congress to testify." Like, and then there was like a complete change of plans, and nothing was mentioned. Like, not even that original congressman called, was like, "What the hell is going on?" It just sort of left that floating, but that's just me being nitpicky. If you remember that at all.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah. But it's like I wanted at least a phone call. That was like the one that was one bad thing other than that, I'm looking at it as I tried to make the best of characters I don't really care about. I think like overall, like we may have different opinions. People, our viewers might feel the same way. You might like what GL said and you're wrong, or might like what I said and you're right. So or you just don't want to pick fights and you like what Badger said. What did you guys think of the post credit sequence? Is that just another Marvel keep the train rolling, or did you think it had any weight?
Well, first off, I'll say I think that was the longest post-credit scene that I've seen in any movie ever. But again, didn't hate the idea. I knew that it was coming, that they were gonna have to lead into, spoiler alert, they're gonna have to lead into Fantastic Four somehow. But again, I think that's another creature of the movies that have to come out now. They always have to let you know what's coming or tie it into the next movie somehow, which for a post-credit scene, I guess that's fine for this. And I am excited to see what happens with the Fantastic Four when they come to the MCU. But it's, yeah, I'm glad it was a post-credit scene and that they did do what I guess post-credit scenes are supposed to do. It did excite me for the future.
I think my question is when they zoom in on the spacecraft, is the spacecraft for the Fantastic Four, is that when they go into space to get their superpowers? Or is it the spacecraft at the end of the Fantastic Four movie when they're coming to get help from Galactus? Because
I
that's
think
what I think.
actually, I think because of the trailer for Fantastic Four, I watched the most recent one by accident. I think the scene where they're actually flying away from, or maybe towards an exploding planet or whatnot, that might be them escaping, and that's them coming like something happened to our world and we're having to save them or something, or you have to save us, or something worse is following us, or we'll find out in July.
I don't really care about Fantastic Four. Um, the last movie kind of ruined it for me.
I never even saw it because I know it was terrible. But I
Which
think
which one did you see? Did you see the Michael B. Jordan or the Jessica Alba's?
The first Jessica Alba one was good, and then the Michael B. Jordan one was kind of like Thunderbolts. It took an hour and a half to set up the plot, and then it just fell apart from there.
hey, listen, a lot of the reason I really like the Fantastic Four trailer now is like the style of it. It looks like it takes place in the 60s. I just like that sort of feeling that they have set up for the setting. Like it looks like it's the 60s. And I think the woman who plays Invisible Woman and Invisible Girl, flat, no chemistry, just like is like, I'm Invisible Woman. I have dialogue. I have lines. I don't have emotions.
But you haven't seen her. You haven't seen her interacting with Pedro Pasquale yet.
But I'm just saying from the trailer right now, I don't really see any, and that's a problem because you need to have something. You need to have some charisma. The way she's playing the character, it's like very flat. It's no real emotion. Like even when they're like, "Are you pregnant?" Yes, I'm pregnant. What the fuck?
Based on a 2 minute trailer.
Exactly. I'm just saying. Pedro Pascal shows more emotions. Like, will you protect us? I don't know. Like, that's something. Johnny being excited about being an uncle.
What if for this movie she's the stoic backbone for the family, where she is more not flat, but I have to be this way to make the family say
No, no,
okay.
get your talent already because with that character, with that character, he needs to be transparent.
You mean translucent?
Oh God.
She needs to be transparent, and you should be able to see her intentions.
Anyways, back to Thunderbolts.
But back to Thunderbolts. Wasn't the greatest MCU movie, but it wasn't the worst. I actually had to look up, and it was the last three were Deadpool, Brave New Attempt, and this.
So, in that
Well,
chronological order is the order of the movies. Deadpool was great. Captain America was good. This was
the Fantastic Four is absolutely gonna suck for you.
this was on the level of what was that movie where they had the song and dance
The
and it was a bunch
Marvels.
of yes, this was on the level of that for me.
Oh. Ooh.
Why did they show in all the marketing material that one chick and then they killed her off at the beginning
Task, uh, Taskmaster.
or in the first 45 minutes during the
Yeah.
boring part?
Honestly, I didn't need to see. I never saw Black Widow. I figured out who Taskmaster was like after it came out because I didn't really care. But like, I'm glad they killed her off, so I didn't have to learn another character. I'll say
I think
that to
she
agree
would
with you.
I think she would have been a better addition than the ghost chick.
Well, also they barely gave Ghost any time to shine in the movie. Like she was kind of an afterthought because they forgot to see her, I guess. But
Also,
Yeah.
also, how convenient was it that DeFontaine like was being driven in the limousine by Yelena's dad and he overheard the take out everybody who's in that bunker. And then he went and like drove there to save them.
What part
Very
of the movie
convenient.
was that in?
part I think you fell asleep, but
I was gonna
as
say I didn't see that part at all.
It's when they
as
were in
if
the bunker and then like her assistant's like they're working together. She's like, no, they're not. That would be ridiculous. No, oh, they are working together. And then she loudly says to the limo driver, Red Guardian, can hear like, well, we need to take him out.
I must have been out at that point.
Yeah.
yeah. It's as another YouTuber says, no movie is without sin. I think that had to happen
It was a
for
very
it
big
to make
sin.
sense. Yeah. I mean, what is
Maybe that
that
was enough.
called? What is that
Like,
called? Plot where somebody does something with the plot to forward the plot that doesn't make sense. What is it? It's a
yeah, what?
phrase. My God, I can't remember what the hell it's called.
Um,
It's not a MacGuffin.
I was gonna say MacGuffin, but no.
It's not a plot point. It's plot convenience.
Stop
Yeah,
saying plot. I'm trying to think of the word. It doesn't have plot in it.
but you know what I mean. It's something has to happen in order for the rest of the movie to happen, and that was way too convenient. But I mean, if we break down any movie, there's gonna be a lot of things that are way too convenient. But anywho, that's just one of those things that has to be very convenient for this to work for the rest of the movie.
Plot armor?
Plot armor protects a character. So maybe that's plot armor, but that's more like in a situation where like they're fighting and they're like, you don't like, I'm gonna kill you, Goku. Like, you don't understand. I got plot armor. I can go Ultra Instinct. That's plot armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Overall thoughts. I enjoyed
Yeah.
the movie as a movie, MCU movie, and as just a regular movie. Excited for the future and where they lay the groundwork in this movie. But I think MCU movies from now on, they're gonna have a problem with either having to explain to the simple goers that each character's motivations and who they are, or yeah,
I did not enjoy the movie. I was just bored during the movie. and I was let down by the Ultimate Fight. Out of the movies I've seen recently, I enjoyed The Working Man better than this movie.
You
I
missed
think
half
the
of that.
I think The Working Man had better plot than this movie did, and I am fearful for the future of the Marvel universe and superhero movies as a whole.
Anyway, guys, what's your opinion on the Thunderbolts asterisk? As always, I'm Hokey Joker.
I'm Chekhov's gun.
Until next time, guys, keep watching, keep commenting, keep subscribing, keep liking. Thank you so much. Until next time,
Remember,
cheers.
you're never alone if you have the bros. Just us bros.